Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Blight Review Board on July 10, 2024. We are in room 119 of Town Hall today for a little change of scenery. May I first ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the June 12, 2024 meeting as presented. Thank you, Mr. Burke. I thank you, Ms. Oki. And any comments, corrections, edits, anything? All right, then those in favor of approval as submitted, that's the three of us. It should be noted for the record and for public consumption that Mr. Washeka, I expect, has resigned. I know that he was being appointed to the Park and Rec Commission and he can't serve on two of them. So he is not here today, and I believe therefore there are only three of us who are members currently. So to put in a plug to the RTM, any of you folks there who would like to participate in the Blight Review Board, please tell the moderator. And the Human Services Council as well, we could use a member from that group because each is entitled to representation. And at the same time, we can proceed with the three of us constituting a quorum. Okay, so the next order of business, I see no members of the public here, so we can go directly to Mr. Ferentz for his report, please.
Hi. So, case number 16001. It's a little overgrown, so it's difficult to take pictures. But nothing has changed.
Okay. No for sale sign up yet?
I looked for that, and I'm afraid not. The grass is growing, of course, and the weeds.
Yeah.
There we go. And this is the only picture I'm able to get from the back because of the trees. But as I said, nothing has changed.
Yeah. Okay. Having heard from a member of the family that they do intend to list it for sale, is there any interest in doing anything else at this point, or we just keep it as is, right? Status quo? Okay. Thanks. Next.
Okay. 17011. No changes here either. The grass and weeds are growing.
Yeah.
The roof still needs to be replaced. The pile of wood chips remains.
This is a property we did adopt a motion suggesting to the Board of Selectmen that they consider foreclosing on that. We did that in the absence of Ms. Ramstack, and if Ms. Ramstack would like to weigh in, please do.
Well, I did speak to the owner and invite him to the meeting, but he did not show up today. I've been working with him, and he, I think he is struggling and not able to fix it on his own. He's elderly, and I think foreclosing would not be fair to him at this point because he would have no place to go. So I did speak to the town attorneys and shared that information with them, and it's in their hands at this point.
Is he able to take care of himself in the house as it is?
I mean, I don't feel comfortable sharing information about him, but he's able-bodied and he's confident. So I informed him about the liens. He said he was unaware that he was never notified, but I referred him back. That's why I invited him to come to the board and speak with all of you, or to speak to Hank, which I know he's spoken to you before. And he did not think that the blight ordinance could be enforced. He thought it was illegal, but he said it's a town ordinance and it is in fact legal. So
That's difficult, but you're willing to say you find him competent.
I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and in my conversations with him, I do not have concerns about his
Mr. Ferentz
ability to make those.
Spoken to him, and difficult as the conversation may have been, any reason to think he didn't understand what you were saying?
No, I thought he was very competent. Understood what I said.
Yeah.
He, well, I shouldn't say that. But yes, he understood what I said.
Okay. Well, So we've made our motion. I expect the selectmen have done nothing about that at this point. Fair to say?
So with the recommendation had gone up. We haven't discussed it. We haven't met since the
Okay.
recommendation went up. It has not been on our agenda. I didn't know that, there are now 2 and maybe an additional one that's going up. So,
Right. And I did not have the conversation I intended to with the first selectman. I'll redouble my efforts to do that before September's meeting. And, so there won't be anything happening about this property in the next month or so. And so I think we ought to just let the status quo stand.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, it kind of goes against the whole principle of the ordinance, right? To protect people who we're not looking to displace anybody. He does live there, he's elderly, and there's other extenuating circumstances that I think we have to take into consideration.
Does he have family?
Again, I don't really think it's my position to be talking about his personal life, but I informed him of what's going on, and he chose not to come today.
perhaps you could reiterate him the benefit to attending. So it always goes better, I think, for our fellow citizens who are having these struggles to come and speak with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe, I don't know if you guys think this is appropriate in you too, Hank, but maybe even a letter or a call from you as well, Hank. Perhaps that would seem more official than me just inviting him, if you find that appropriate.
Yes,
Sure.
any invitation, that's terrific that you did invite him, but to do it properly, we ought to do it in writing and make sure that he has seen it. And so maybe Mr. Ferentz should send him a letter. I don't know that it needs to be certified, just, this part is not part of the enforcement process. I'm just suggesting that to have some record of our efforts, a letter to him notifying him of our suggestion to the Board of Selectmen would be appropriate. And I understand your perspective about the displacement of individuals, et cetera, and that's absolutely a concern of ours, and we're not going to leave this man homeless, I just know it. But we also have the concern of the condition of the property and the impact on the neighborhood. So we have to consider those issues. I can't believe that it's a safe environment for him to be living in, and it could well be an attractive nuisance, kids climbing around the scaffolding, etc., all worry me. So I think we ought to take those steps we just discussed and revisit in September.
Absolutely.
Good, thanks.
I will do that.
Okay, next.
17019. Nothing has changed here, except, again, the grass is growing.
Yeah.
The dumpster, without going on the property, which I don't do, I can't look in the dumpster, but it doesn't appear that there's much, if anything, in it. And,
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that car has moved in a while.
No, well, it may have been there for the last couple of weeks, but it wasn't there last month, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, not an issue for now.
In other words, I think it moves.
Yeah, okay. I think as long as there's a dumpster there, that, there's no reason for us to stir it further, but if anyone has another view of that? No? Okay. Thank you, sir. Next.
All right. 18002. It doesn't appear as if anything has been done since our last meeting, because this is basically, these are from Monday, these pictures, but this is basically the same picture that I took last month.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said last month that somebody was working on the steps here at this door, and it's covered over with a tarp, so I can't even tell if anything's been done.
Yeah.
I don't see any sign of anything else done. Now, that's not to say that they can't, that they're not working inside, but the several times that I've driven by, I don't see any cars or trucks to indicate that somebody's working on it.
I could call the Realtor who I spoke to in February, who had told me that the plan was for it to come on the market in April. So
Yeah.
I
it's like
could
the
perhaps
change of
find
plan.
an update that way.
That would be helpful, I think, please. And this fines are running, I believe.
No, fines have stopped. They're at 42.7.
42.7.
They stopped when the bank had the property cleaned up originally.
Well, then I think it may be timely to invite the owner in for a conversation and a discussion of what may constitute blight. It is obviously unattractive and disreputable, but do we have actually items of blight here, do you think, Mr. Parent? Debris around the property?
There's not much. There's these bricks, which I assume were from the steps. Everything else is pretty much picked up. I mean, the grass isn't cut.
Yeah.
So that's an issue.
Just having house wrap is probably not an item of blight.
I forget if we talked about this last time, but what, does his permit run out in September of this year? Like he has his
It will be
building
a
permit?
year-old.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. If he's underway, I suspect they wouldn't stop him, but I don't know.
I could talk to building and see if they know
Yeah,
what's.
I think that'd be a good idea,
What it is.
because it's coming up, its anniversary is September 28th. So I think we have enough to discuss with the owner, and we ought to invite him in, and that would be our notice that we will be making a determination of whether certain conditions constitute blight.
Okay.
Great.
I will do that.
Okay, and you can itemize what you see there in that letter so that he's on some notice. They or he, I don't know if it's a he, they have some notice of what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Burke moved a motion that we invite him to our September meeting, I think would be appropriate. And Ms. Oki second that?
Second?
Okay, those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, okay.
Certainly. 18004. Again, no changes here.
Right,
However, well, let me get to that picture. So, the grass is mowed.
yeah,
Now, I spoke to the homeowner because he saw me taking these pictures. He told me that within the next month, he's going to have this structure removed. And he also said that he believes he can have one or possibly two of these containers removed by the end of this month or next. So it sounds like he's making an attempt to work on things that are a little more visible than we've seen in the past.
mhm. Okay. Well, those steps would not cure the problem, but would be good to see some progress.
Those are still the
Exactly.
boats that are still there.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The boats are still there.
Yeah,
Those were the boats that have always been there, correct?
Yeah,
Even though it's summer?
I think they've been there they've been there for a while.
and an upside down trailer.
Yeah, that would be this one.
Do we not refer this one?
Yes.
Yeah,
I just don't know it's been discussed.
it
but-
hasn't, but,
Okay, next.
All right. 21001. This is one of the ones you've spoken about.
Oh, yes.
Uh,
This is when we had suggested moving foreclosure.
Yes.
Okay.
It's, again, nothing's changed. It's basically a mess
Mhm.
with the way. I'm going to get this right so that I
So I tricked to it.
I mean, nothing's cut. There's vines growing up the side of the house. This is the front yard from the street. You know, I mean, this is 3.5 feet high, so this is probably 5.5.
Yeah.
Again, this part of the door is open to animals or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's we've got mildew on the siding, and the backyard is a mess, as it has been. So it's not being maintained in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I'm going to suggest that you send a letter in much the same form as you're going to send to the other owner that we discussed a minute ago, just to inform him that this board has recommended the consideration by the selectmen of foreclosing on the liens on the property.
Okay.
And if you-
This is to that gal who claims she's not the executors, right? Up in Hartford.
No,
I don't think we've ever heard from anybody on this one.
So the niece is who you're referring to, who
Yeah.
said she didn't have
Her
authority.
niece,
Yeah.
okay.
Is that right?
Mhm. Who didn't want anything to do with it, was the last message I think
right,
we had.
right.
Okay. Well,
An
So we've got a-
official letter of informing her, I
Yeah.
think is appropriate too.
should be addressed to the owner at whatever address there is. Sorry. Do our diligence.
Well, the problem, as I understand it, the owner has passed, and there has not been
No state.
any probate paperwork filed from as far as the town attorney can determine. So I think the niece is the
I see.
person that we can contact.
Yeah.
But she basically said she wanted nothing to do with it, I think, right?
Correct.
And said to donate to the town or something like that.
Yes.
Does she understand the value of dirt in this town?
Possibly not.
Well, let's just use what you've got to send. There does not appear to be mail collecting in the box, does it?
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, I don't know if
Okay.
you can see it on the photo. It's pretty much full.
Oh, it is, okay. Well, if it's been several years where somebody's collected it, so I might as well add to it, I guess.
All right.
Just give them a fair chance. As I say, it could be basically the same form as the other letter you're doing, so
Okay.
cut and paste.
All right, next problem would be 23001. We've spoken about this.
Yeah.
He is maintaining the grass, but this is becoming overgrown again. Again, it's not the biggest problem on the property. The biggest problem on the property is this garage that he was here last month and spoke about.
Right.
He did not contact Human Services, correct?
Correct, I have not heard anything from anyone.
And as we instructed him to do,
Yes, to make an application
yeah,
for assistance. Well, now or put it off another couple of months. I understand it's expensive, but we should at least be taking some action to.
And you were what was the allowance that you were suggesting could be feasible?
Well, we get $2,000 every fiscal year in the Blight budget. So we were thinking last month there was still money left over from last fiscal year, and now we're in a new one, so there's $2,000. But that's for the whole year, for all, so.
For everything, yeah.
and you've already spent some of that, haven't you?
This year, no.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
It's only July 10th.
Well, I know.
Just kidding.
There was a hoarding issue that I thought you spent some money.
Not Blight, though.
That's true. I'm sorry.
Do we,
Should invite him for the September meeting?
yep, fines to follow.
Yeah, I think so. We've got to see some action. If it difficult as the circumstances may be, but we can discuss that with the owner. Okay, Mr. Ferentz, you'll name a few items of blight in the letter and
Certainly.
send it by, I would think certified mail works for that. If you want to use a
No,
marshal.
we don't really get a response unless we send it by marshal.
Okay, fine.
All right, 23004.
Oh, yes.
No changes, no progress. We have a letter from the, one of the attorneys representing the owner, which I received today.
Yes. And just for the record, it's an unusual letterhead because my name appears on it as well as Attorney Zabatakis. Obviously, there's as Attorney Zabatakis is working with the ZBA, the Zoning Board of Appeals, in this matter, which I believe prevents there being any conflict of interest with me. If anybody feels otherwise, let me know. Others can handle this, but but it reiterates that because the damage to the existing home was more than 50% of its value, a variance is required to allow the owners to move forward with the building permits that they have filed. So there's really nothing more that I don't believe that we can do or should do, and so we'll see how that works out through ZBA. Thank you, sir.
Okay. $23,011. When I spoke to the servicing company for this mortgage, I had it 4 or 5 months ago, and they told me that they were no longer responsible, that the mortgage had been sold to another company. I said, would you give me the name of the company, which they did. And I've been sending letters to that company for probably once a month, if not twice a month, since, again, five or 6 months ago. Last month, when I went out to take pictures, the neighbor immediately adjacent to this property came out to me and said that he had seen somebody walking around, and he went out to talk to him, and that person was a realtor. And they got to talking, and the realtor explained to this homeowner next door that information that I had was incorrect. Now, I don't know how that happened, but there's a different servicing company that is responsible for this property, even though it's owned by the original company that we've been sending letters to, and they're not responding. But anyway, this servicing company, I spoke with the realtor, and he spoke to the servicing company. I gave him a copy of all of my concerns with this property, and they're pretty much all taken care of. And within the last month. They've cut the grass. There was mildew on the siding, which they've cleaned, except I guess they couldn't reach up here. Ignore this, I had trouble with the camera. But from about here up, they didn't clean. But they've cleaned the rest of the house. As I said, they cut the grass. They fixed the chimney, which I was concerned about. They've taken away the brush, all the brush that was in this pile here. It's difficult to see, but except for a little bit of debris on the ground, the brush is gone. And as you recall, there's a tree that fell over that somebody had cut off up to about here. They removed the rest of the trunk. And that's all that remains. So they seem to be acting responsibly and trying to take care of everything. Other than perhaps cleaning the rest of the mildew off the side of the house, I don't think they have a blight problem at this point.
Weren't there windows that were left?
Yeah, but that's not a blight. It's not a blight problem. Yes,
You you just kept bringing that to our attention,
Yeah,
it seems to me.
because it concerned me that somebody was going to get in,
Yeah.
possibly, but apparently they don't have a concern about it.
Okay, so do we keep it on the list to watch, or do we?
Why don't we
Senior
see what it looks
services.
like in September?
September.
Maybe with an eye towards popping it off. And perhaps if we could have some communication about what the remaining,
What the plan is, there.
Yes.
you know,
Sounds-
or something.
Well,
Could that scrub?
the overall plan is they need, the mortgage holder needs to actually, and I don't understand this, your attorneys, you may, they have to actually gain control of the property so that they can sell it, and that is their intention.
Right.
But I didn't actually check this week, but prior to that, the owner is listed as the former owner's daughter, even though she claims that she's been in here. She
Yes.
claims she has no ability to do anything with this property, that the reverse mortgage actually took all the equity out of the house. That was several years ago. I think that the equity may have increased
Yeah.
because of the value of dirt, as you said earlier.
Yeah, right. All right. Yes, so please encourage whoever it is you're in contact with, and we are pleased by the steps they have taken. Looks like a little more to do, and hope they figure out how to get title and move forward.
Okay.
Lee?
All right. That's all I have.
Oh, good. Okay.
I told you last month that I had 6 new ones, which don't require your looking into them. And out of those 6, actually all but one have taken steps to move forward. 3 of them have actually done everything I asked them to do.
Excellent.
And I have one additional new one, which I just got the other day, and I haven't contacted them. But I think that's a minor, well, that's paint, and paint really is not a condition of blight, so we'll see what happens.
Good, good, okay. And you have provided a nice summary for the record here of those that have, the properties that have been found to be blighted and have had fines assessed,
Yes.
and the current state of those fines. So that's good and helpful, and that's good for the record.
The fines, I mean, the columns, not the columns, the lines that are indicated with a green C, those are current fines. They're currently running, and the red ones have been stopped at a certain date, and which is listed there for whatever reason.
Okay, good. All right. 17011 is substantial along with 18004. All right, well, I think we've done all we can on those. Oh, I did want to inquire, in our last meeting, a number of liens were to be updated. Have you passed that along to council?
I did, and they chose to wait on that.
Oh, to see if they're foreclosures?
Yes.
Were they all related to foreclosure? I'm not sure. Well, you can
No, I-
just review that.
I don't believe that, I think just that one was related to foreclosure,
Yeah.
but he wanted to wait on the other one. And there was, give me 1 second, I'm sorry. Uh, 18004 we did not discuss, but that should be updated, I believe.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
Yeah, we
yeah,
really.
that was it, I
I
think.
think we've oriented around trying to do it at least annually. So, But we'll follow advice of counsel if they find some reason not to do that, but.
Well, I mean, if the idea is that we're about to foreclose on an existing lien, we're not necessarily about to do it because the Board of Selectmen hasn't decided. And
Right.
I think it would be proper not to go against town council, but to get those liens updated, and at such time as the selectmen may or may not act on our recommendation to initiate foreclosure procedures, those would just be the new lien amount.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's right.
Okay.
It will certainly be several months before
yeah,
any action is even commenced. And it is an opportunity to serve notice on the owners that the numbers are going up,
Okay.
which we hope is impactful. All righty, I have nothing else. Anybody else? Okay. Ms. Oki moved to adjourn, and Mr. Burke gladly seconded, and it was unanimous, so we are adjourned. Thank you very much.